Hi, my name is Candy Thorson. We've been at HomeLink now for 2.5 years. This is our 4th year using Math-U-See in our home, and it's worked really well for us. I wanted to give you an overview of the program and the curriculum and how it works. And then I'll show you some of the actual curriculum and worksheets and teacher's manual. The first thing to recognize is that Math-U-See is a mastery-based program. It's different than spiral learning. Spiral learning, you're going to review the same subjects and topics over and over and over again. Math-U-See does not work that way. So with a mastery-based program, and specifically with Math-U-See, they spend 1 year on a subject. So this one, Delta, is they spend the whole year on single and multiple digit division. And with Alpha, they spend the whole year on addition. So they're spending a whole year on one subject. Now, there is review built into every lesson. So they do have some review, but review is minimal. So something to note with this is that they don't move on until they master the concept. That's why it's called mastery-based. It's just a different technique than what's used in schools. So if you're planning on going back and forth between public school, it can be a little harder to use Math-U-See because they can be missing out on things as they're going back and forth. A couple other things as you look at Math-U-See is that they do offer DVD with each curriculum level. So if you're uncomfortable teaching your child math, they can watch the DVD or watch it with you. You guys can learn the concept together. So that is a nice option. So why don't I go ahead and show you the curriculum, and hopefully that'll give you a better view of it. Math-U-See uses the Greek alphabet to label their levels instead of numbers or grades. That's really to get away from the concept of this is 1st grade math, 2nd grade math, 3rd grade math. With it being mastery-based, they really want you to start at the level where your child is. And if you go to their website, you will find placement tests. So you can easily find what level your child's at. And you might find that in some lessons, they'll go faster and some they'll go slower. And if you look in here, this is the teacher's manual. There's only 30 lessons in a year. And so that really gives you the flexibility to 30 lessons in a year. That really gives you the flexibility to maybe spend a couple weeks on lesson 8 because that one was hard, but maybe lesson 9 was easy and you guys flew right through it. Since this is mastery based, it's important that they really get the concept down before you move on. With that in mind, one thing that I love about Math-U-See is the concepts build on each other. So they have to understand lesson 1 before they understand lesson 2, and lesson 2 takes lesson 1 into account. So you really see this building process. I also like how he explains the concepts. It's sometimes a little different than what you would normally expect, or the way that we were taught in school. And there's a big focus on place value, especially in the lower levels. He really wants the child to understand like every value has a place, and every number needs to be in its place, and there's a story that goes with it, and it really makes it fun and able for the students to understand that. So this is the lesson book, and the other thing that I wanted to point out before we really get into this is that they do use multiple learning styles with this. I'll grab the blocks and show them to you towards the end of the video. There are blocks that go with each lesson, and that includes the kinesthetic learning because they're manipulating the blocks and moving them around, and also the visual. And then you have the audio learning as you're teaching the lesson. And so it's really trying to get all those levels in. So it's designed that the parent teach a lesson. The parent can read through this ahead of time. It is an open and go curriculum. So as long as you understand the concept pretty well, you don't have to spend a lot of time reading through this. It'll tell you what to tell the child, gives examples, gives example problems for you to work through with the child. And then once that lesson's taught, depending on how well and independent your child can work, they can work on the worksheets. It is a worksheet program by themselves. So here they have A through G worksheets for each lesson. So 23A through 23G. The first few you'll see are lesson practice, and this is practicing the specific concept that they were taught in the lesson. And then they'll move on to systematic review. So they do have review in every lesson. The systematic review is set up to review the lesson, and then they'll go back through and review things that they've learned in the past that have built up to this point. The last page of every lesson is an application and enrichment page. My children generally love the projects and the questions and the different things that they do on the G in their worksheet packet. And the one that they did this week was to make a graph, and they had to interpret the graph. So it's a little different than division, but it's still incorporating a lot of those math concepts and applying the things that they're currently learning. So when you order Math-U-See, you get the instruction manual, the student workbook, and a test booklet, and it comes in a pack like this. And there is a test for every lesson, as well as unit tests if that's something that you want to do in your family. You also get a one-time purchase. You only need it once, is the block set, which I will get to show you. These are the Math-U-See blocks that they use throughout the curriculum. This is my own container. They don't come in a container like this, but you could store them however you want. They're pretty much basic unit blocks. They do spend, especially in the earlier levels, some time talking about the blue block is a 5 and helping kids like identify quickly, this is 5, this is 6, and then they use these blocks to help teach a lot of the concepts, especially as far as adding and subtracting and place value and understanding all that. They also do use them to teach division and multiplication. My children don't practice with the blocks as much doing those concepts. It's just their learning style, but it is an option of something to be able to do. So it's been a great program for us. It's worked well. I plan on sticking with it at least through the next few years. So I hope that was helpful.